After 6 years, Tesla is officially ending one of their most popular features, the referral program. And thanks to each and every one of you who ordered a Tesla after watching my videos, I finished as the world's top Tesla referrer with over 1,400 referrals. Thank you so much. And because of that, I have almost 2 million free supercharger miles, which I believe is the most in the world. So I'm on a mission to use up all those free miles before they expire. And I'm starting it off by going on the longest road trip I've ever taken in my Model 3 from Louisville, Kentucky to Acadia National Park in Maine. So come along with me and my wife as we travel over 2,500 miles, and you'll get to experience what it's like to supercharge across the country. I'll give you some of my best Tesla road trip tips along the way, and you'll get to see some footage from one of the most beautiful national parks. And Tesla even gave us a little surprise while we were there, so you'll get to see that later in the video. Big thanks to Harry's for sponsoring this video. Now, let's hit the road. Now, if you own a Tesla or any electric vehicle, this is a must-have. It's a free app. It's called a Better Route Planner. And sometimes it'll save you a charging stop because you can go in here and customize this, and you can tell it exactly what car you are driving, and it gives you a more detailed route. And sometimes it'll save you charging stops. So this took me directly to Grove City in Ohio, and it skipped the first charger stop that my Tesla was telling me to stop at. So let's see how long we have remaining here. All right, we're charging at 140 kilowatts, so we're almost pulling the full 150, which is great. It says that we're supposed to be here for about 20 minutes charging. Well, I was kind of hoping for 30 minutes actually, because we need to stretch, walk around a bit, get some steps in and get something to eat and use the bathroom. 20 minutes here at the first charger after 3 hours of driving, not too bad. Now, while we were finishing up charging at the Grove City Supercharger, a funny thing happened. A stranger charging his Model Y called out my name. He's actually a viewer that used my referral code, so watch what happens. I was kind of hoping that
look.
Hey, I gotta run. Sorry to interrupt your video. You're one of the reasons I bought a Tesla.
No joke.
Yay!
That's awesome. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Aww.
Enjoy the car. Is it new?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Awesome. Congrats. All right, second stop on the way to Maine. We are in Macedonia, Ohio. It's like Cleveland. Again, we are at a supercharger with pretty much, nobody here. Just drove for about 2.5 hours. The range has been great. It's optimal weather, pretty hot outside actually. We charged at the Macedonia supercharger for about 30 minutes, and then we made our way to the Salamanca, New York supercharger. All right, just got to the Salamanca supercharger in New York, 140 kilowatts, so almost at the max of 150 here. 15 minutes only charging here. The most important part, we're getting our steps in during our supercharging stops.
Yes, and stretching.
As you heard Jamie say there, stretching. Yes, we made it a point to stretch at all of our supercharging stops, and this is something I would love to see more Tesla owners do. It's a great time to get your yoga in. My wife is just a yoga master, and I'm just a goofy idiot just trying to stretch my long, lanky legs. So if anybody saw us here at the Salamanca charger, they were probably laughing at us. We charged one more time on our first day at Irwin, New York supercharger right before we got to our hotel in Horseheads, New York, because I wanted to wake up to a little bit of a charge. We left this morning from the hotel with about 60% charge, drove about 1 hour, 45 minutes, almost 2 hours, and then we pulled up to the supercharger with like 5% battery. It was like cutting it really close, but this is a brand new V3 supercharger, so it was pulling the full 250 kilowatts, 1,000 miles an hour, literally almost done. We've only been here for like 15 minutes, so it's almost time to get back on the road. And this particular drive of the trip was my worst efficiency. I was averaging about 300 watt hours per mile, mostly because the temperature had dropped to in the 50s, and because of that, my tire pressure got a little lower than normal. And so here's a tip. If you want a more comfortable ride, but a lower efficiency, so a little bit less range, then you can have lower tire pressure. If you prefer to have more range, but more bumpy or stiff ride, you can have higher tire pressure. So I prefer to leave mine about 42 PSI, which is a little bit on the higher end because I prefer to have longer range. I don't mind the slightly stiffer ride. Our next stop was in Lee, Massachusetts. We went in, got a sandwich, used the bathroom, ate the sandwiches, and literally by the time we got done eating, it was time to go to our next supercharger stop, which was Portland, Maine. Been here about 30 minutes charging. This is the last stop of the trip before we make it to Bar Harbor. And luckily, our bed and breakfast has a destination charger there, so I can charge while we're there at the bed and breakfast. We've had a great trip. 3 more hours to go and we're there. As a guy who can only grow a mustache and a neck beard, aka a neared, it's important to have a high quality razor that I can take wherever I go, which is why I love today's sponsor, Harry's, which is a personal care brand that delivers a close, comfortable shave at a fair price. They also support great causes as they give 1% of their global sales to nonprofit organizations that provide mental health care for those in need. The Harry's shaving set has everything I need for a refreshing, comfortable shave even when I'm away from home because boy, my face was getting out of control on this trip. Harry's has their own factory in Germany for their engineered blades, which are the best I've ever used, but still come with a low price of only $2 per refill. The weighted handle has a textured rubber grip so it doesn't slip from your hand, and the foaming shave gel has a rich texture that is suitable for sensitive skin like mine with ingredients like aloe and hyaluronic acid. With Harry's, you can get razor refills delivered directly to your door, and a convenient perk is that you can buy Harry's with or without a subscription. They also have a 100% money-back guarantee. Now, for an incredibly great deal, you can redeem your trial set that includes a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, blade cover, and foaming shave gel for just $3 when you go to harrys.com/AndySly. So yeah, Portland Supercharger was the last charging stop of the trip there to Acadia National Park, Maine, where we stayed in Bar Harbor at a beautiful bed and breakfast. And luckily, the bed and breakfast we stayed in is called Inn at Bay Ledge. Highly recommend it. It had a destination Tesla charger so that I was able to charge while I was staying there. Beautiful bed and breakfast right on Frenchman Bay, gorgeous views, and highly recommend it. Very, very nice hosts. So if you ever go up to Bar Harbor, Maine, or Acadia National Park, definitely stay there if you're a Tesla owner, especially because there are no superchargers around Bar Harbor at all. Like the closest is in Bangor, which is like an hour away. So you definitely need to plan ahead if you have a Tesla or EV if you're going to Bar Harbor, but it's definitely worth it. It is a beautiful place. The first day that we went to Acadia National Park, we visited, we did the Bowl Lake Trail, which took us to a beautiful little pond, and then we kind of walked along the coast there. Okay, day 2, Acadia National Park. It's about 9:30 in the morning. So far, I'm like pretty early on into the hike, but it looks amazing. A lot of beautiful trees. The leaves haven't totally started changing yet. This is going to be a pretty steep hike. It's pretty short, but it's about 1,000 feet elevation gain. Have you ever sweated so much that your knees just started to sweat? Like my legs, my shins are sweating. It's weird. We are, I don't know, a mile or so in. Got a little over a mile left, I think, but just I had to stop, and this is just a beautiful panoramic view. Totally worth it. You know, it's funny when you're hiking, you as you ascend, you find a view, and you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely the best view. And then you keep going, and then you realize, oh no, this is the best view. I think I'm to that point where this might be the best view. That was definitely the best view of the trip, and the very next day was our last day in Acadia National Park, and we did a few little shorter trails, but it was very beautiful, gorgeous. I mean, we had the best weather, saw a lighthouse, and of course caught a sunrise on Frenchman Bay and spent some time at Jordan Pond. Highly recommend going to Acadia National Park if you've never been. And then the last few days of our trip we spent in Portland. Where are we going?
We are going to Holy Donut. The Holy Donut. Made out of potatoes.
These donuts are world famous, I guess. Whenever anybody comes to Portland, they just have to get a potato donut from the Holy Donut. So we are entering into the last day of our trip. So we left for the full charge and we came to Portland. It was like a 3-hour drive. We've been able to like stay here in Portland for the past couple of days without charging. We're finally charging one last time before we leave out on Monday.
Portland has been really nice. Andy was struggling when we left Bar Harbor because he wanted to keep hiking and be in Acadia, but Portland has definitely not let us down. What a great city, what great food. People are so nice here. So it's been a good experience.
Yeah, Portland is awesome. And while we were in Portland, we got a software update, the long-awaited FSD request button. It popped up and I hit the request button, and now I am enrolled in the beta queue. So I'm waiting, and depending on my driving scores. So this is also a new feature that got downloaded while I was there. It's the new safety score. It shows up on your Tesla app if you have it. I got a 99. I was pretty bummed about that. So my plan was to hack my way back into 99. So the plan was to drive as much as I can on autopilot on the way back home. So you'll see how I do once we get back to the last supercharger trip on our way back home to Louisville, Kentucky. Officially on the way back home from Maine, and this is the first supercharger stop today in Massachusetts, and I had a feeling Massachusetts was going to cause a problem. We pulled in, only one other car at the supercharger, but we pulled into I usually pull into the very end spots if they're not taken, so pulled it in, plugged it up, and we immediately went to use the bathroom. So that was a bad mistake on my part, because came back after about 10 minutes of using the bathroom and walking around. The car was not charging. I was like stuck, kept on freezing, so I had to move spots. And from the time we went to the bathroom and came back, there were like 4 more Teslas charging now, so they're about 5 or so. I've been trying to drive as much as I can on autopilot so I can up my score, my safety score. My safety score was like 89, and now after driving I think it was like 2 hours on autopilot most of the time, 96. I'm going to try to get that as high as possible. Maybe I can make it to 99 by the time we get back to the house. That's my goal, because it's obviously not going to be at 100, but I plan to drive as much as I can on autopilot this whole trip back. So it's going to be about 1,200 miles or so on autopilot to bump up my safety score in hopes of getting approved for full self-driving beta after this first week of driving with the safety score. So
What happens when I drive?
that's why you're not driving.
I'm not? I'm off the hook?
You're off the hook. And this whole safety score thing is really causing some anxiety, some road rage, more so than usual, because it's like, I was wondering if it's going to dock my score, or like, so I'm just more like, it's stupid to like want to, I just want to have the high score, you know, so.
He wants to be the best student.
I want to be the best. We're going to about 142 kilowatts right now. We are 50% battery, 10 minutes remaining to continue on our trip. First charge of the day on the way back home, on the final day returning home from our beautiful trip to Maine. We are in Hermitage, Pennsylvania. I'm the only Tesla charging this morning. It's about 8:45. Been making great timing. Haven't ran into any bad weather this morning. It was raining a little bit, but we have been very lucky with the weather on this trip. It's been perfect. Each supercharger stop has been roughly around 20 to 30 minutes on average, and there has been no waits, no lines for us. I'm going to charge for about 30 minutes here, and then we'll be on our way. And I think each day driving roughly is about 3 supercharging stops. So every 2.5 hours, roughly, stop and charge for 30 minutes. Not bad at all. What better way to end the trip supercharging at the exact same spot, same charger too, than when we started the trip out on here in Grove City, Ohio. We arrived here with like 8% battery, and we'll be here quite a while, probably at least 30 minutes. It says 35 minutes right now. So let's see how many free supercharging miles I have left. So we left with about 1,926,000, and I was afraid that was going to happen. We actually have more free supercharging miles after the trip is done, because multiple people used my referral code while the trip was happening. So we have 1,934,000. Even though the program is supposed to be officially done right now, people are still using my code and it's still going through, and I'm still getting free miles, even though they're all going to expire on the same date, May 2023. So this is one of many trips that I can try to get rid of these miles. But thank you guys so much for giving me these miles. And here's also a note: we left Maine with a safety score at 88, right? And my mission was to use autopilot as much as possible on this trip, on this road trip, and it's bumped up the score to 98. I was on 99 for a while there. I'm going to try to get it to 99 before I get home. We still got like 200 miles left, so hopefully I can get it done to 99, because Elon said, he just tweeted this, that they're going to kind of roll it out to people who score 100, and then they're going to roll out to people who score 99, then 98, then 97. If I can get to 99, I'll be happy, and hopefully I can get that FSD beta and start doing some videos for you guys and test it out in my city of Louisville, Kentucky. It's been a fantastic trip. Thank you guys so much for joining along. I'll see you in the next one.